Hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel of Geography Lecture Series. So I promised you that in my previous lecture, I promised you that I will come out with another video on the geographic domains, because in previous lecture we discussed about the atmosphere, its characteristics, its composition, and its profile. So atmosphere was the one of the domains, Earth domains, or the geographic domains. So in that video, I had told you that I will have a separate video on the geographic domains. So let's start a new topic, which is on the geographic domains. Before going to discuss the geographic domains, let me clarify that these four domains are again are vast subjects, are vast topic, or the big topics. They will have again needed a separate video. So I will again try in coming days to have a separate video on these domains individually, because as I told you, these domains are covering almost 80 to 85% of geography is the academic discipline. So we need to have a more focus on these domains if you want to learn the geography. So let's start our today's topic. So actually, the Earth environment domains are, you can say, geographic domains. These are mostly the part of physical geography, or in some way these are also been part of the general geography. So uh, this is the big one, big topic. So let's start. The major domains of Earth is a basic concept in geography. The Earth's surface is a complex zone in which these major components of the environment meet, overlap, and interact. So if you look at these four domains, like we have a lithosphere, we have an atmosphere, we have a hydrosphere, and we have a biosphere. So these four domains, they interact each other, or you can say they meet each other, they overlap in some conditions to provide life, I'll say, or to maintain the ecosystem. This has also been an ecosystem in its own. So these four domains, like Earth, as I told you, lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, they interact. They interact somehow uh, to provide, I'll say, the life. You can say, or you can say this is the biggest ecosystem in the world. So let's start one by one, but I will want to have a give you a smaller definitions or smaller, I'll say, explanation of these. So lithosphere, the solid portion of Earth, which is made of different rocks. I'll give you more details on that in coming slides. And the atmosphere, it is the layer of air formed of mixed gases that surrounds our Earth. And the hydrosphere, these are the forms of water, different forms, its states, and the presence and distribution of water. And the biosphere, it is a portion of narrow zone where biotic and abiotic elements interact. So in a biosphere, which is very thin layer, or with a very limited zone where both biotic and abiotic elements and factor interacts and provides life, or being sustain life or support the life. So let's start from the lithosphere. Lithosphere is a rocky layer, or the rigid layer, which is the outermost layer of Earth's surface. So this lithosphere is made of the different rocks. So these rocks are of different nature and different forms, and these rocks are being under different circumstances. So we are not going to discuss these rocks here. So I will have another video on these rocks, but here we will discuss about this lithosphere. So as I told you, lithosphere, the upper layer or the surface layer, even where we are been living or we are been carrying our agriculture. So it is the uppermost layer, which is very thinnest. So we'll discuss here. The lithosphere includes the crust and the uppermost portion of the mantle. So this layer is about 100 kilometer thick and has a ability to glide over the rest of upper mantle. So if you look at the internal structure of the Earth, where we have a 3 layers, sometimes it's been divided in 4 layers. One is the upper layer is the crust, then we have a upper mantle, we have a lower mantle, and then we have a core. Sometimes you might have a might be studying the 5 layers, where we have a crust, upper layer, upper mantle, lower mantle, upper core, and the what is the lower core. So here, what is saying, the lithosphere, it includes the first 2 layers. If somebody tell you about the, or you have been studying, or you have read somewhere that we have these 4 layers. So first 2 layers, which is the crust and the upper layer, uppermost part of the mantle. So if we combine both of them, we will have a lithosphere, and which is being made of the rocks, which is the stony or rigid, I'd say, layer. So it is thickness is 100 kilometer, and it is an ability to glide over the rest of upper mantle. So where is upper mantle? The boundary of upper mantle. So that litho is being floating on that, floating or hanging or being lying on that. So because of increasing temperature and pressure, deeper portion of lithosphere are capable of plastic flow over the geological time. So as you know, if you go into depth, if you are going down beneath the earth, the what is say the temperature will be increasing. So what is saying, it is because of the increasing temperature and the pressure, what is it, the portion, the lithosphere and the downward, they are being movable conditions. So they are movable state. So they can be hanging because of this one. So the lithosphere also the zone of earthquakes, mountain building, volcanoes, and continental drift. So this is a zone where earthquakes are being happening. These are the seismic waves which are being occurring inside the earth, both in the continent, under the continent, also in the oceans. So we have a mountain buildings processes, we have a volcanic eruption, and the continental drift. So these are also again the different topics. I will try to have another video on these two. So lithosphere zone where certain geological processes are being happening. One of them are the earthquakes, or the mountain buildings, or the volcanic eruption, or the continental drifts. So let me clear here, the lithosphere, our lithosphere is being formed of the because of the processes, uh, two two processes here. One are the geological process which has been happening at the top of the earth, or the uppermost part of the surface earth, or at the top of the earth, and some are being happening inside that. So the processes are being changing, or what you say, the geological or geographical processes, or the forces which are being working at the top of earth, they are being called the weathering. As I see, the lithosphere is being based on the different land features. Land features or the land forms, like we have a mountains, we have a plateaus, we have a rivers, or you can say we have a oceans, so we have a hills or streams. So we have a different type of the features. Some are being formed in the glacier zone, some are being on the desert zone. So we have a different features at the top of the surface. So these features and the features which are inside that, even especially at the what is say bottom of the oceans, which are being called oceanic spreadings, they are being formed because of two forces. So few forces which I told you, some forces which are been working at the top of surface of earth, which are being called the exogenous forces, are the forces which are outer forces, जिनको हम outer forces कहते हैं, and the other forces which are working inside the earth, which are called the endogenetic forces. So in endogenetic forces, we have earthquakes, we have a mountains, buildings. Yes, so I was checking, sorry, I was checking whether it's been recording or or not. So I was a bit confused about that. So I saw this, it's been recording here. So let's start on, we continue our lecture. So what is there? So the geological processes are being forces which are being active inside the earth. They are being also being formed in different type of landform or the feature which are being inside the earth, especially at the at the oceanic floors or ocean's floor. So like earthquakes, or the plate tectonics, or the volcanoes or volcanism or volcanic eruption. So you've been you will get another video on these forces. So the forces which are at the top of Earth's surface, they are being called the exogenous forces, or the outer forces. They are working in the form of the weathering. So weathering is the process by which the rocks are being disintegrated, are broken down into different forms. So these forces, they have been working parallelly, inside and outside, and they give shape to our lithosphere. So because of these forces, we have a different types of feature at the surface of Earth. So lithosphere, as I told you, its distance is the 100 kilometers. So again, I'm telling you here that I will have another video on the lithosphere. We will talk about these forces, exogenic, endogenic forces. We also been talking about the plate tectonics, which is very important. Very important thing. We will also be talking about the continental drift theory, of volcanic eruption, and the features which are being formed up from these forces. And we will also have a weathering. So again, these are the big topics we need to have another video on. So we are going to the next. The next one is the atmosphere. If people who have seen my previous videos, so I have discussed the atmosphere in detail. So please, if you want to have a more knowledge, I want to have a detailed knowledge on this topic, especially the atmosphere, you can watch my previous video. So I don't want to give you detailed information about the atmosphere. We will discuss the generalized, because we have been talking over the Earth domains or Earth. So atmosphere, what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is a thin layer of gases that surrounds a planet Earth or moon held by the force of gravity. So this, our atmosphere is being is the form of the gas, the form of air, and that air is a form of different gases. So it is a mixture of different gases which surround our Earth. So particularly, we have a different, as I told you, not only with the gases, we have also the other components, climatic components, or other things which are being present in the atmosphere or the environment, which are the the gases, dust particles, water vapor, smoke, aerosol, or the pollutant. But they are these remaining, the dust, water vapor, smoke, aerosol, they are in a small portion, a little portion, but the gases, they are being dominant in the atmosphere. So these different gases, like we have a nitrogen, we have a oxygen, we have argon, we have a helium, we have a ozone, we have a methane. So these are different gases which make or give shape to our atmosphere. So but the gases which are being dominant, are being leading one, which are being big portion, are in high percentage. These are the two gases which are, one is the nitrogen, which is 78%, and another is the oxygen, which is 21%. So if you combine both of them, it approximately make the 99% of the atmospheres. So another thing I want to tell you here, the atmosphere, now the other planets in solar system, they have an atmosphere, but the atmosphere what we have, means atmosphere which Earth has, it is quite unique. It is a different format or different form, because this atmosphere supports the life. So if you compare all the planets, so uh, Earth is the only planet where life is being existing. It is only because of this atmosphere. Now, this our atmosphere, if you look at its initial stage at the beginning, it wasn't supporting the life, because the deadly gases like methane and helium, they were in high number. So the life on the Earth's surface, on the Earth, came very late. So if you look at the beginning, like our universe came to being 14 billion years ago. Then our Earth came in 4.5 billion years ago. But the life on the Earth came 225 million years ago. So it took time. It is because the atmosphere which we needed for the life, it wasn't present before. So once the concentration of the nitrogen, oxygen with the when the amount of these gases increase in the environment or in the atmosphere, then the life slowly and gradually came on the surface of Earth. So nitrogen and oxygen are very important for the maintenance of life. So because of this, now the other planets, they have also atmosphere, but the mates or the ingredients what we have, like the gases, dust, particle, water vapor we have on the Earth, it is being absent on the other planets. So that's why these planets are are without the life. So number third is the hydrosphere. So again, I will give you a generalized picture of the hydrosphere, general information of the hydrosphere. So I've been thinking to again make another video on hydrosphere because this is also a big topic. So hydrosphere, it is all about the waters in its different forms. So it is the zone or a sphere where water has been existing. So here you are being concerned or being interested in the water. So all of the earth water, including surface water or the groundwater or the water which is present in the environment or the atmosphere, we all being concerned here in the hydrosphere. So our water, it is been in a different forms, so like it or in different locations. So like if it's in surface water, we have a surface water in the form of oceans, seas, lakes, ponds, and streams. Then we have a groundwater of subsurface water, which is inside the earth. In it, it is the water which has been present in the soil or aquifers and other rocks which are being lying inside the surface of earth. They are coming in the groundwater. So and the water which is formed on the vapor, which is in the atmosphere, it is being present in the form of vapors, or you can say in the form of gases, or in the form of clouds, or in the form of fog. So this form of water also being present in the environment. So now we're coming the states of the waters. Like water can be in a solid form, like we have a glacier, we have an ice caplet. So this is in the solid form. Then we have a water form, which is mostly a freshwater form. Freshwater, if somebody said that which are the source of fresh water. So in freshwater, we have a glaciers, we have a stream, lakes, ponds, whales also been killed, and we have also groundwater. So water can be in a liquid form, which is I told you in the form of rainfall, in the droplets, and we have also in the vapor form, in the form of gases. So it can be, it has a three states here. So now we are coming to the amount of the water. So how much water is present on the surface of Earth in different. So I also give information the states and form of the water. So it has been estimated that there are 1,386 million cubic kilometer of water on the Earth's surface. This includes water into liquid and frozen form and groundwater, ocean, lakes, streams, and the salt water accounts 97. So if you look at the whole amount of the water, so it is 1,386 million cubic kilometers of water. So there's a plenty of water on the surface of Earth. बहुत ज़्यादा पानी मौजूद है. But if you bifurcate the water, divide the water with different category or the forms. So we have a fresh water and we have a salt water. So I told you fresh water has been in the form of glaciers or precipitation or the rainfall, or you can say streams, lake, ponds, or wells, or the underground water or groundwater or subsurface water. Then we have a very gigantic big portion of water which is called the brackish or saltish water, which is present in the ocean and streams. So the brackish and the saltish water, it accounts about 97.5% of the whole water amount on the surface of Earth. तो यानी कि 97.5% पानी हमारा जो है वो ओशियन और सीज में मौजूद है, which is a brackish water. I'll give you more detail on that, but before we must continue this discussion. So fresh water accounts only 2.5%. So 97% हमारा salt water है और जो fresh water है 2.5%. So of this fresh water, जो हमारा ये फ्रेश वाटर है उसमें से 68.9% इन द फॉर्म ऑफ आइस एंड द परमानेंट स्नो कवरिंग आर्कटिक इंटार्कटिक माउंटेन ग्लेशियर। सो उसमें से फॉर एग्जांपल 97% हमारे पास पानी ब्रैकिश वाटर है। जो फ्रेश वाटर पानी है वो 2.5% है या 2.5%। उस 2.5% का अगर आप 100 लें उसमें से यानी कि 69% ऑलमोस्ट पानी जो है इट इज इन द परमानेंट आइस, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ परमानेंट आइस, इट इज इन सॉलिड फॉर्म in the form of glacier ice and which is being present in the Arctic, Antarctic and mountain glaciers। यानी कि ये पानी freeze water है, solid water है। So until unless we don't have a certain condition where where these what you say these solid form of water in the form of these glaciers or snow, they start to melt. So until unless we don't have this scenario or the condition where we have a high temperature and some sort of rainfall, then they will be start to melt. Otherwise, they are been always freezing. So they are in freezing form. But this is also that portion of water which is being mostly which remains freeze uh, almost whole of the year. So might be I'll say in a certain time of the season where they start to melt, but there is slight portion of the water start to melt here. Otherwise, this is almost being or permanently being in a solid form. तो आप इसे अंदाजा लगाएं जो 2.5% हमारे पास पानी मौजूद है उसमें से 100% में से 70% पानी जो है ना वो इन सॉलिड फॉर्म, वो भी हमें नहीं मिल रहा। सो अबाउट 30% इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ फ्रेश ग्राउंड वाटर। अच्छा, उसमें से फिर 30% ऐसा पानी है विच इज अंडरग्राउंड वाटर, विच इज सब सरफेस वाटर, सब सॉइल वाटर, वो जो जमीन के अंदर मौजूद है। सो अगेन इफ वी डोंट extract that water or pump that water, we are not been getting it directly, we are not being able to get it। so इसमें क्या है कि वो पानी जमीन के अंदर मौजूद है। now you will have to make some sort of arrangement to bring out that water at the surface of earth। तो या तो pumping करें या कुछ और करें या ऐसा सिलसिला करें जिससे वो पानी आपको मिल सके। without any effort you can't be able to get that water। so only 0.3% of fresh water on the earth is easily accessible, which is in the lakes, the reservoir, river system। so this is quite interesting, I'll say interesting figure or the fact where it is being said only 0.3% fresh water, we are talking about fresh water, which is 2.5% of the whole water, which is being available। so 0.3% is available for us where we have a direct access, or we can have a we can control it or we can use it directly, which is being we have been getting in the form of lakes, rivers and जो हमारे lakes में water reservoir में मौजूद है। so एक बड़ा interesting fact है यहाँ पे कि पानी हमारे पास बहुत मौजूद है, but that water, if you come to the this statistic, we have ocean water 1,370 meter volume or 70, which is 97% of total water present on the surface. Then we have ice capped and glaciers, which has 2 point. Then we have groundwater, which is 0.68. Then we have a lakes, which is 0.01, soil moisture, which is 0.005. Then we have atmosphere, which is 0.001. Then we have streams, a river, which is 0.1, and the biosphere, which is 0.4. But thing is that this portion, which is lakes, a soil moisture, or you can say somehow atmosphere or stream, lakes, a biosphere, which we are being directly using, are being consuming for both for the domestic purpose, for the agriculture and for the industries, जिसके ऊपर हमारा कंट्रोल है या जिसके ऊपर हमारी एक्सेस है। बाकी ये जो पोर्शन का पानी का मौजूद है 97% जो ओशन में, आइस कैप में और ग्लेशियर में मौजूद है, ये उस पे होता है। अब इशू ये है कि we most of time you have been hearing the water shortage, water scarcity, or mostly people give you answer. Its answer is that because of the climate change and the global warming, our water reservoir has been reducing, are been limiting, or been shorting। मसला ये है कि पानी बहुत मौजूद है, मगर वो पानी जो which is ocean and the seas जो मौजूद है we can't directly use them until we have any technology। या तो आप investment करें, उस पैसा खर्च करें, तो ऐसा करें। so every country can't afford that, especially the developing or the poor countries, or third world countries, they can't afford that। तो उनके लिए प्रॉब्लम है। हाँ, जो bigger countries है, the developed countries and industrial countries है, they can use their money and invest there and to use that water। मगर अगर आप दुनिया में डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वाटर, ज्योग्राफी में हम बहुत ही ज्यादा कंसर्न होते हैं, वी आर मोर इंटरेस्ट अबाउट द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ द थिंग्स। हर चीज की आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन देखते हैं ज्योग्राफी में। तो अगर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन देखें, अगेन this distribution mainly dependent on the latitudinal difference, so where you are being located। एक तो आपकी लोकेशन कहाँ पे, दो two factors been always been have an impact on the water resources or availability of water. One is your location, where you are being locating, a latitudinal location, whether you are on equator, whether you are in tropics, whether you are in temperate zone, whether you are in frigid or rigid zone. So this is the, what is say, the latitudinal location, इसका बड़ा। And another is the climate। तो जैसा आपका climate है, whether you are being in a humid climate or the dry climate or semi-dry climate or the equatorial climate, so or the continental climate. So it depends where you are being. So where you are being existing, if the climate is being in humid, so then you have a chances of getting the water. So otherwise, if you are being arid or semi-arid zone, so there are less chances of fresh water or other water to get that water. So the distribution is important here. So water is available everywhere, but because the water is being shortened, there are certain countries, they are being facing the shortage of water, certain areas or regions of the world where the shortage of water. So ये नहीं है कि पानी मौजूद नहीं है, पानी बहुत मौजूद है, मगर those areas which are being lack of the water, वहाँ पे पानी मौजूद नहीं, either their climate doesn't support there or they have a latitudinal, they have other issues. तो ये भी है यहाँ पे। तो पानी का शॉर्टेज नहीं है, मगर पानी के इश्यूज हैं, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के इश्यूज हैं, और ये डिपेंड्स ऑन योर लोकेशन, कहाँ पे मौजूद है, कहाँ पे। Even similar like in Pakistan, what we have, if you talk about the Pakistan, so we have two main source of fresh or rainfall. One is the rainfall in the form of monsoon rainfall, which is come from the Indian Ocean. It start from the Indian Ocean, first enter in India, then we have Bay of Bengal, in the Bangladesh, then they will collide on the Himalayas and then trend towards the north and then the south of Pakistan. So Pakistan gets almost 65% of water from the monsoon season, from the monsoon rainfall. So we have another, which is a western depression, which is coming from the west of Pakistan, western part of Pakistan, from the Mediterranean Sea. So mostly the west part of Pakistan, they get most time. It is happening in the west in the winter season. So another source is the glaciers. So when the glaciers start to melt at a certain time of the season, where we have a summer, like the temperature has been increasing and there is a rainfall, so these start to give water to the Pakistan. So this is the main source of Pakistan. So again, we have what I say, the heated discussion, debate on the distribution of water among the provinces. This is another issue. So there's no issue of water scarcity or shortage in the world, but this issue of the distribution. So in a hydrosphere, we not only being concerned to the water in its different form and the states. I told you, we are being concerned to the distribution of water. So in a hydrosphere, you also been learn about the oceans. You also learn about the different source of water, like you also learn the rivers, streams, ponds, and the glaciers also. And the same time, you also been studying, reading about or getting the information about the oceans, different like Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean. So these are the oceans which we need to understand, and what are the what I say, changes which are been happening. So in hydrosphere, you also been concerned the what is say, salinity of the ocean. So how much salinity is present in the ocean, and now what is the role of salinity, and also been learning about how the oceans, they are been determining and controlling the global climate. This is also a big issue where we can discuss that the oceans of the world, they determine the control of the global climate. So we will discuss in another video lectures how they are being controlled. So the climate change, the global warming are also being closely related to the oceans and oceanic movements and ocean salt salinity. So in other lecture we'll discuss that. In a hydrosphere, you also be learning about the as I told you, distribution, the process which are being involved by which water is being distributed. So you have been also the glaciers, the rivers, the ponds. We also been talking about the water management areas. Another big topic of hydrosphere is the hydrological cycle, or the water cycle, where the water is being moving, being revolving from one place to another film, from bottom to the top or from top to the bottom into the different state. First start in the form of evaporation or evapotranspiration, then it goes up in the atmosphere and then condense there. May it can convert in the form of clouds, that those gases will get the shape of the droplets and come into the form of clouds. When these clouds start to melt, start to burst, you know, then we have another process which is called the precipitation or the rainfall. So in this way, our water is being rolling from top to the bottom. Evaporation, evapotranspiration, then we have a condensation, the precipitation. So water uh, uh, coming down again, and then we have another thing which is the movement of the water. So these all things are being learned, are being discussed in the hydrosphere. So now we are coming to the last one, which is called the biosphere, which is also being important. I need to have another lecture or video on the biosphere. So the biosphere, which is the Greek word, which is bio, means life, sphaira or the sphere, is a thin layer of planet of Earth where life exists. It is a very thin and narrow and limited layer or the sphere where life is existing. So when you talk about the biosphere, which means you are been talking about the biosphere. So you are talking about the life or living things. So here it is saying the Earth contains life is narrow. The upper atmosphere has a little oxygen and a very low temperature, while ocean depths greater than 1,000 meters are the dark and the cold. So what does it mean? Where there is life existing, it comes in the biosphere. So whether if the birds, they are been flying in the atmosphere, they are also part of the biosphere, and the marine species or creatures which are inside in the water, in the oceans or the seas, these are also part of the biosphere. But this is the range is very limited. It might be, you can say, if you are going up, it might be 10 kilometers. If you're going down, it might be to 8 kilometers. So it's the range of the biosphere very thin or the limited. It means we have been concerned where life is been existing, where the species in different form they are been existing here. So it has been said the biosphere is like the peel in relation to the size of an apple. It's similar like we have an apple or the onion, or you can say egg, which is an outer shell, outer layer. So similar like the biosphere, it's a very thin layer where life is existing here. So the Russian scientist Vladimir Vernadsky coined the term biosphere in 1929. So this person gave the idea or the information or the concept of biosphere. So he coined this word. He gave this word. He was a Russian scientist. I've heard another person who was the English geologist. He also gave in 19th century this concept of biosphere. So the term referred to the life zone of Earth that includes the air, land, and water occupied by all organisms, including humans. So it is similar like a zone where these other, you can say, hydrosphere, biosphere, or the lithosphere, they get together and give shape to the biosphere, or they support to the biosphere. Because if you talk about what is saying the air, which is atmosphere, land, which is the lithosphere, water, which is the hydrosphere. So this includes all organisms or animals or the plants, including the human beings. So the main, this life zone distinguish upper planet from all other in the solar system. So this life zone is distinguish our planet from all other planets in the solar system. As you all know, the Earth is the only sphere or only planet or the uh, region or the place in the solar system, in the planets, where life is existing. Where so similar like this, what is being said, the biosphere only exists in the on the earth. सिर्फ जमीन में मौजूद है, बायोस्फीयर और कहीं पे मौजूद नहीं है, because these rest of the zone or spheres are, you can say, domains, they support the life here. So the biosphere is unique, as I told you before, because it's not been found in other part of the solar system. So far, no life exists elsewhere in the universe. Life on the earth depends on the sun energy. So sun is the main force main factor of the life. So sunlight, solar radiation, which is coming from the sun, because sun gives light in the form of energy, which is coming at the surface of Earth. So many phenomena are being happening on the surface of Earth because of the sunlight. So you can say sunlight is the main, your centrifugal force of the life of the on the Earth's surface. The light which is absorbed by the plant, some bacteria to carry the process of photosynthesis. So what happens when the light is coming at the surface of Earth towards the Earth? The plants which are being present there, they absorb that light and convert that into the glucose, or or they what you say they start to proceed further in the form of photosynthesis, or they make the process of photosynthesis. So through photosynthesis they get the energy. So the captured energy transport carbon dioxide into organic compounds such as sugars and produce oxygen. So this captured energy, means light which is coming from the sun, is being transformed into carbon dioxide and into the organic compounds such as sugars, and which produce the oxygen. So vast majority of species of animals, fungi, parasitic plants, and the many bacteria depend directly or indirectly on the photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a big process. These all species are depending on them. Because of that, they get the energy, or they convert that into sugar and produce the oxygen. So another thing is the biosphere based on the bacterial, oh sorry, the biosphere is based on the hierarchical concept of the food chain. We have also another concept in biosphere, it is called the food chain. Means food is being chained, being distributed, a network. It is a network which is being changing or moving or being converting from into one form to the another form. So food chain also been a hierarchical concept, food chain in the biosphere. Primary producers like plants, herbivores, carnivores, or decomposers all interact to create food chains. So in a food chains, we have a like what I say, some are the producers, some are the consumers, and some are the decomposers. So these all amalgamate close together, interact with each other, and they give shape to the food chains. So food chains are being distributed, are being promoted or proceed further into different forms, and the different species they get that in a different format. So because of the life has been continued there. So the organisms are linked to the environment, and the relationship with other organisms, and energy and mass are transferred from one level of food chain to the another. As I told you before, the energy and the food is being transferred from one level of or form of level to the another form. And so again, the humans are also the part of biosphere. Man, human being, we also part of biosphere, because we have been living and we have been interacting other. Human activity and impacts have a lead to change in habitat and reduction in the biodiversity. So our activities, what we are doing on the earth, it has been changing the environment, changing the ecosystem, or changing our habitats, the habitats with the living, where we are being living there. And reduction of biodiversity also been reducing, are been limiting, are been degrading our biodiversity, where we all have to live in a peaceful environment. But because our activity, where mostly we are doing something wrong or in a negative way, that it affect our environment. So our biodiversity are being having an impact, a negative impact, because due to our activities. So biosphere reserves have been created to demonstrate, integrate, manage of land, water, and biodiversity in a coordinated network of protected areas. I told you at the beginning, there was one line. This is fair, these sphere, they interact, overlap, and communicate. So like, or they are being depending on each other. So they interact, they depend each other, and they overlap. So to get the, or to fulfill their requirements. So here also been the land, water, air, and gas. So the biosphere has also been concerned to habitats, location, distribution, and dispersal organisms. This is also, important topics in biosphere. When you are be learning about the biosphere, you'll be also be learning about the habitats. Habitats are a place or niche, which is called the geographic niche, where the species are been living there. They are being, getting their getting their energy or food from there. So it's a particular place where they are being located, where they are been locating or been living there. So we also been learning about the habitats or the location. We also been concerned in biosphere the distribution, that where these are being living and what part these species are being living. We got different species, and they are be living under different circumstances, different environmental conditions. So where they are be living, in what form, in what condition they are be living. So how, what are the sources of their food, food consumption, like the food sources. So from where they get the food, and how, in what form they are getting their food, and how they are being dispersing. How they move from one place to another place. So in that we also been uh, uh, we've been concerned to the, like water or air. Through air they have been dispersed, move, or you can say man is also a main source of dispersing these organisms or the animals. So this was all about the biosphere. But let me in the end, let me say that these topics are so big that we need to have a separate video lectures on them. So in future, in coming days, I will have a different lectures on these videos. So I hope you understood what we discussed here. So stay tuned with me, and subscribe, like, and share my video, and have a comments on that. So take care of yourself. Thank you very much for the watching.